There are two city council races in Indio, and tonight we're focusing on one of them. In District 1, Councilman Glenn Miller faces registered nurse Aaron Tehran. I spoke with both of them today about why they're running and the issues that matter most to them.
Glenn and Aaron, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
First off, briefly tell us about yourselves and why you're running to represent District 1. Glenn, since you're the incumbent, let's start with you.
Well, I came into the Coachella Valley about 35 years ago to build the golf resort of Indian Wells for the city of Indian Wells, and fell in love with the city of Indio and made it my home ever since. I raised my 3 children here. I started my business here, so I know what it's like to sign the front of a paycheck as well as sign the back of one. And I got very active in the community, from my Rotary clubs to many nonprofits, including Fine Food Bank, ABC Recovery Center, Desert Arc, and the Boys and Girls Club, and just decided that I really wanted to help and support my community. And that's when I got involved in city politics here at the city of Indio, because I wanted to be more involved to make the decisions for our community. And when I came into the city, I just felt so much at home that I couldn't think of any other place I'd want to live. And so, like I said, I got involved, and I've been here ever since. And the reason I'm running is to continue on the success that the city of Indio has had. When I first got on city council over 12 years ago, we had no reserves. We had laid off about 35 people and had cut our workforce by 10% with furloughs. Now we have a healthy budget, and even though COVID-19 has hit us with some issues that we're dealing with, we're able to continue to keep our staff on because we have a healthy reserve and a healthy budget, and we have a healthy opportunity to look at bringing in new businesses and also continue on with the work we have, from infrastructure and other things that are going on here in the city, from education with the new College of the Desert to the new supermarkets like Vallarta that are coming in, and it needs leadership and experience. And that's what I bring to the table.
Aaron.
Hi, Peter. Well, a little bit about me. I'm a lifelong Indio resident. I was born and raised here, attended Indio schools from kindergarten all the way through high school. I was a proud Indio high school graduate, and I became a mother, and I was a single mom. I lost my spouse at a very young age, and so I worked hard to take care of my family. This year I worked with COVID patients and took care of COVID patients on the front lines at the hospital. So I've had a different perspective of this pandemic that we are going through, and seen a different perspective from the people that live here. I actually ended up getting sick myself. I was one of the nurses fighting on the strike lines for PPE so that we could have appropriate and safe working conditions. However, I got sick at work. And in fact, I was sick during the beginning of our campaign, but I pushed through because I have tenacity, and I will work hard for the residents of Indio.
In your opinion, what are the 3 biggest issues facing Indio right now? And if elected, how do you plan to address those issues? Glenn.
Well, when I get reelected, the 3 biggest issues we have right now is obviously economic development. That's what's going to continue to bring the quality of life and the programs and access to our residents that they deserve and need. So we've got to continue, as we're doing now, bringing in new businesses. We have 2 new car dealerships coming in. We also have Vallarta Supermarket just opened up, a host of new restaurants, and over 2,755 houses. So we need to continue to make sure that the economic development is coming in so that we can provide the services and the programs that our residents need with a balanced budget, and continuing to make sure that we have a healthy reserve so we can continue on. The second is academics and social programs that we need to do. We're continuing to build our College of the Desert campus here. We're going to be starting on January 1st for a brand new campus, 60,000 square feet of new college campus, along with another 40,000 square feet of daycare centers. So that's going to help with the education, along with our new revamped 3 high schools. And Indio is the only city in the Coachella Valley that has more than 1 high school. And we're bringing in academics to be able to help with the new jobs coming forward. And as the economics come forward with the jobs, we'll be able to make sure that new businesses come in, that we're bringing them to the forefront, that we're supporting them as they're continuing to flourish. And then at the same time, we need to help our existing businesses, make sure that they're able to stay open safely, and continue to make sure that our residents are working. And then the last one is public safety and infrastructure. Without a safe city, you don't have a prosperous city. We need to continue to work with our Indio Police Department, which is top notch, one of only 15 departments recognized in the state of California and the United States for their 21st century policing. Work with code enforcement, our fire department, to make sure we have a safe and effective city. And then at the same time, continue on our work for infrastructure for quality of life, including 5G Wi-Fi, the roads that we're improving. We've done over 25 miles of repaving of roads, the new Jefferson interchange. We need to go down to Monroe Street now and Jackson Street and continue those interchanges to continue to build our infrastructure that we need in place, and work with our Indio Water Authority to make sure that we have the water and power we need to be able to bring in new businesses and new homes.
Erin.
Well, everything that Mayor Miller is saying is great. You know, those are all things that we all wish to achieve. But if you ask any nurse, we're going to tell you that safety is our #1 priority. And we need to do a better job of keeping our residents and our essential workers safe from this pandemic, or we're not going to be able to move forward with any kind of economic recovery. You know, we had leaders in our community at the beginning of this pandemic, at the beginning of April, like my opponent, that were skeptics, and they felt that we needed to reopen and reopen as soon as possible. And we even held off, you know, on mask orders when county orders had originally been rescinded. We waited 2 weeks, which during a pandemic is valuable time. Indios had 74 deaths. 74 families have lost their loved ones, and their lives will never be the same. And our rates are again increasing, and our county has the possibility next week of moving back down to the most restrictive tier. So the very first thing that I'd like to focus on is to prevent the spread of this virus so that we can continue to reopen safely. The second thing I'd like to focus on is post-COVID economic recovery. Obviously, everyone is worried about this economic crisis that we're currently in. And as a single mom, I understand that better than many other people do. You know, we need to make sure that we're focusing on job creation. We need to support locally owned businesses, but we also need to make sure we're supporting our residents and giving them the assistance that we need. The last thing is, so many of our residents have been at meetings, city council meetings, and they've been asking for more social programs. You know, and as a lifelong Indio resident, you know, I know how important this is. I grew up playing at Miles Park, and I swam at Jackson Pool, and I had friends that grew up in the John Nobles area and also in Nairobi. And I visit those areas, and I'm 40 years old, and I can tell you that even now, many of these areas have not changed. So while many of our council members in Indio, they've been in office for so many years, they've done many wonderful things. There's so much more we have left to do.